When I worked for a building society, I was involved in recruitment of staff, in interviewing people for the jobs. Also, when I was a lecturer, I had to teach recruitment and selection. It seemed to me that, as with many processes, this is something that could be significantly improved. When you get people in for an interview, I think it's only reasonable to assume that these are people who have been assessed already as being able to do the job, by way of references or experience or whatever. And the point of an interview is to try to find people who will actually fit in with the organisation and work as expected and required. And this is somewhat difficult. In my interviews, when I was interviewing people, I got very often a good first impression as to who I was going to take on as soon as the person walked through the door. And I've heard this from other people as well. You get a feeling. But it needs to be more than that. There needs to be something concrete that you can use to give yourself the best chance of getting the right person for the job. I was talking to someone a year or so ago, and he said, "Oh, I'm involved in recruitment," not in a big way, I don't think. And he said, he looked me in the eye and he said, "And I always get it wrong." And I thought, well, I'm not surprised. A lot of people do, and the expense that's involved with recruiting the wrong person can be fairly considerable, and so can the time wasted. I remember seeing a cartoon in a business magazine some years ago, involving somebody being interviewed for a job, and you've seen the masks that are often outside theatres, the comedy mask and the unhappy mask. Sorry, I've forgotten what that is. That's it, the tragedy mask. And it showed the person being interviewed with the comedy mask in front of their face, and the interviewer looking happy, and everything seemed to be going well. And the interviewee behind his back, who got the tragedy mask. A lecturer of mine some years ago said, regarding recruitment, you have to be very careful that you don't pick the wrong person, because people are so desperate for jobs, they will agree to anything. You know, work 7 days a week, oh yes, yes, yes. 1 day's holiday a year, oh yes, yes, yes. You know, threepence an hour, oh yes, yes. People will agree to anything. You need to know what you're getting. Now, it's interesting that everybody has a set of motivational traits and working traits. We all have exactly the same ones, but we don't generally know what they are ourselves. Wouldn't it be useful for an interviewer to know these traits and to know how to discover what they are? Wouldn't it be useful for an interviewer to know exactly what traits are required for the person to fit in with those who have to work with in the department or wherever? Interestingly, there are questions which you can ask which enable you to discover all these traits very easily. And also interestingly, people respond to these questions using exactly the same words. So you can always tell what a person's traits are. So you can tell what mask they're wearing, if they're wearing one, or if they're being genuine.